So you just started the game. Which talents do you unlock first with the talent books? Which ones are the most important and which ones can wait till later? Well, let's talk about it. Alright, we're going to do a brief overview of the 5 different trees, and then after that we're going to break down which ones you should prioritize early game. The first one is your physical stats, so think running, swimming, max speed, max stamina, how far can you fall without breaking your ankles, your carry weight, stuff like that across the board. The next one is going to be survival. Survival is where you're going to get all your resource gathering. So this is where you're going to get more bones from an animal, more wood per tree, more iron, copper, lead from a rock. It's also going to have some cool ones where you can have a % chance to actually break a rock on first hit, and a tree as well. The next one, efficiency, just has some kind of cool items. So it can make you loot faster, it can give you a % chance to get more items from loot, it can help you with clothing and armor, it can increase trap damage against animals. It's a pretty good little skill tree here. Next we have combat. Combat's where you're going to get your increased damage for your weapons. And this can be knife, spear, bow, crossbow, rifle, pistol, rocket launcher, even grenades. It's all going to be covered under this. In this skill tree as well, you'll find quicker reloading for weapons and then also reduced recoil. For vehicles, the most noticeable mechanic in this entire skill tree is definitely going to be the reduced cost of driving. If you're loading into this game, you're going to find out very quick that gas is a rough commodity in the early game, and with this right here, you can definitely save some of it. So when you're just loading into a game and you're trying to figure out what should you do first, where should you use your first points, we came up with the answer that it should be in the survival, and you're going to want to work your way down these lines. So now let's talk about it, and let's bring out those exact traits that we think you should prioritize to level up your gameplay. If you're playing PvP or if you're playing PvE, this answer is the same, because whenever you first load in, your first goal is XP, XP, XP. That is what you need. You need to level up and get better gear. So the answer remains the same for both PvP and PvE. So you're kind of forced to do this first anyways, but you really should prioritize getting level 5 on the Lumberjack skill. A big part of the reason that is XP in this game is not per tree, but it's per item. So if you're getting an extra 10% wood per tree, then you're getting an extra 10% XP per tree that you cut down. So extra wood, extra XP, really it all works out. And then you can pair it with the wood collector tree. So the wood collector, you're going to get that increased wood cutting speed. So now you're getting an extra 10%, and then you max this one out, and then you get an extra 25% on top of it. That is just XP rolling in. After that, you can level up and get the elite lumberjack. Trees can sometimes be felled in one hit, so it's still going to give you max amount XP, but you're going to touch the tree and the tree is just going to fall over and give you max XP and max resources, which is super awesome, and it saves you time, which is what the early game is about, is saving time and getting XP. So after getting wood leveled up, what you should most likely do next is mess with the ore. Once again, you're going to get that more XP. Metal miner, increased iron ore, that is probably the most important, because that specifically is used so heavily in the middle game stages because of the amount of iron and steel that you need. And then at the back end of it, the ore analyst is awesome because you're going to get that percentage chance again to just one-shot any sort of ore. And then the rest of the items of the skill tree are what you would normally expect to see in here. So other gathering items such as getting more bones, getting more food, some items that save your water and food consumption so you don't have to eat as much. Alright, well that's enough of survival. Now let's go take a look at efficiency. Efficiency has some good items as well. Most notably probably going to be the looting aspects of it. So lucky looter. I would not rush to this super early game, but I would definitely get this in the mid game when you're doing a bunch of raids and there's a bunch of bags on the ground that you have to loot. At that point, I'd probably use a couple skilled books and just unlock the looting so to make the looting a little bit faster. Other than that, there's really not too much here that interests me. I'm not going to put too much into efficiency, especially early on. So the next one we're going to look at is going to be combat. Combat, I'm not going to recommend doing early game at all. Let combat come when you think you need it. I'm not going to tell you when you should have it or not. We are going to take a quick second and point out that crossbows and bows have a chance of immobilizing the attackers, and most people don't know that because it's really not told anywhere. However, it is in this skill tree right here, so you can get up to an extra 10% chance to increase the chance of the immobilization. Alright, now that that one surprise is taken care of, the rest of the tree is pretty much what you would expect. This tree is really going to come down to the individual player and what do you want to do. So come in here, take a look, figure out what's going to be your primary weapon, and then make a build in here that's going to support what your primary weapon will be. As we move into the vehicles, what's going to excite everybody early game is going to be the fuel consumption. However, the rest of the tree does have some good anti-damage and damage reduction. However, it really depends on you. So if you're in a PvP world, you're going to want to put more points into this to defend your vehicles. But if you're like me and you're playing on mostly a PvE world, this may not be as important. Alright guys, that was a bunch of information. We did just a general overview, then we did an in-depth guide on what we think should be first. So now drop me a comment and tell me what you think should be first. I'm curious to see what everyone else's opinions are and also what your builds are. And if you're looking for an explanation video for the front, just drop a comment, let me know what you want, and we'll see what we can do at Off Duty Gaming.